Goddess podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Thomas Bridges, and you guys, today is the day. So, I am actually recording this on the day of 2025's full moon in Scorpio. And if you know anything about scorpionic energy, it is very emotionally charged. There is a lot of energy wrapped up into transformation, into taboo subjects, and something that I believe we need to hear more about is mastering our emotions and becoming more emotionally intelligent. So, I want to share with you that it has not been that long since people have promoted, and they still do, that young boys should not have, or men in general, shouldn't have any emotions. Even with women, if a woman expresses herself or cries, is seen as someone who, oh, she doesn't have it all together. Something's wrong with her, right? There's this terrible stereotypical idea of how we are supposed to handle our emotions and what we are supposed to do with them, which is basically bottle them up. And as I mentioned, during this Scorpio full moon, everything is coming out to the surface. This weekend alone, I have had so many people call me and say, like, Jasmine, I'm struggling with this and that, and I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, it's just been intense. And it's because a lot of their emotions and feelings about things have been under the surface. And this can no longer happen. When you encounter an energy that makes you dig deep and really look at yourself and see if what you are doing is actually working, this is the time to do it. And so I had no choice but to come here live on the YouTube channel, The Money Goddess 333, as well as I'm going to share this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as the radio stations and TV stations internationally. Hello, everyone who has just joined in. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you. We are discussing emotions and how to deal with them properly, okay? We are no longer in this paradigm where we push our emotions under the rug or they just burst out. We are working to make sure that our emotions are in check and that we become completely unbothered at things that used to really hurt us. We now have our power back. We now can take a stand to really go to that next level, because when you have your emotions in check, you guys, research has shown when you are emotionally well, you are healthier physically, you live longer, you have great connections. And I know that's what all of us want. So I'm going to be going with over 10 tips to help you do this. So if you are listening in, make sure that you give me a thumbs up, hearts, leave a review. I want to know your thoughts on this. And if you are ready to transform yourself so you can be that girl, that woman, that man, whoever. Yes, thank you for the hearts. I'm so happy you all are here. Now let's dig in. The first thing you can do to build your emotional intelligence is starting off with a forgiveness ritual. Now, you may have done forgiveness rituals in the past. I'm going to go over 3 that typically I have seen work the best for myself. Now, when I first started off in my personal development journey, counseling, all of these things, I came across the Hawaiian prayer. Now, I hold it with sanctity. I don't want, to take, because some people think, oh, well, why are you doing this prayer? You're not Hawaiian. This is not your tradition. This is a practice that still can help. just like people from other religions may do another religion's candle burning or whatever, like, right? I'm also not a person that practices one specific religion or anything like that. Like, I am an amalgamation of different things that work for my soul. So the Hawaiian prayer has 4 parts to it. So if you are listening in, make sure you have your journal. If you're driving, I understand you may need to come back and listen to this later, but this is going to help you. So the first part of the prayer starts off with, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. You are taking responsibility for anything you could have done. And even if you did nothing, just to be on the safe side, say I'm sorry. Because that releases any sort of potential of something you could have done, said at any point, whether to that person or at any time in your life. Now, if you're in your journal and you want to get specific on what you're sorry about, write that down. Get clear. Okay, so first off, I'm sorry. The next one is, I forgive you. And you can write down what you forgive that person for. And this, the I'm sorry and the I forgive you, to me are the most heavy parts, because they make us recognize that we might have played a part in something, and also acknowledging that others played a part in those things too, and it hurt us. The next thing is, I thank you. And what you're thanking them for is that lesson. People come into our lives for many reasons, and most of the time it's a lesson. And so we may be harboring unforgiveness because we have failed to see the lesson. We're so focused on their actions and what they're doing and all of that that we forget to see we're here to learn. I don't know if you have woken up to that yet, but we are here to learn and to transform. And if we don't do it in this lifetime, we're going to have to come back. And we're going to repeat this until we get it right. So make sure, let's thank them for that lesson. Even if they talked about us poorly, even if they gossiped, if they did us wrong in any way, thank them. Thank you. You've taught me what not to do. You've taught me how I should be or how I shouldn't be. It was something you got out of it. And the last part of the Hawaiian prayer, which is the 4th part, is I love you. Sending love, irregardless of how a person has treated you, is the highest vibration. And at that point, you're being God. God is love. And if you send out love from your heart chakra, you are stepping into an energy and a frequency that most people will never experience. And that is always going to make you so attractive to the world, because you are going to be a pure light and a pure soul. So I want to repeat those parts of the Hawaiian prayer, which again, we're talking about forgiveness, ways that we can forgive to help us with our emotions. So the Hawaiian prayer starts off, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. So try journaling on that. You can also search on YouTube and find Hawaiian prayer sayings. That is an option as well. And I believe there might even be some subliminals. I mean, it's all types of options that you can utilize in order to put that into practice. Now, the next forgiveness ritual is, what you can do is write down what happened to you, how you feel, and safely burn it. It is something powerful about the burning of something and watching it burn. Even if you put it in a barrel and just, safely burn that and watch it burn. And what happens is it kind of takes away the sting Because most of the time, when we need to forgive others, we're angry. And that fire represents your anger. And it's like you're transforming and transmuting that into that fire. And what I do is when I'm watching that fire, I'm watching it go away. Like everything in me that I felt is now melting away. That is powerful. And I take that fire and I allow it to teach me lessons and to help me go forward in my life and be that girl. That's what it does for me. So that's another ritual you can try for forgiveness. Now, let's say you have personal blockages. Maybe your hurt was so deep and you've held on to it for so long. Maybe you tried these specific rituals and you've seen some progress. But let's say you still have to deal with this person. Let's say that, it has led to dis-ease within your body, because that's what happens when our emotions are not dealt with and regulated. I would recommend trying a freezer spell. Now, some people, listen, this may not work for you. You may not feel like this is appropriate, but for me, it helps because I have dealt with unforgiveness even towards myself. And so I would freeze unforgiveness, right? I would write it down and place it in the back of the freezer. I've done other things where if I had, an issue with someone that I really loved, I would put that issue in there because I want it to be gone. When you freeze something, you halt it. And it's like it's done. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Those are some different things that you can try to really open up. That's going to help your emotions thrive the most. When you are able to talk about your pain and move through that, that is going to give you your power back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to get into is healing your nervous system. Okay. With healing your nervous system, I want to say it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes time. So let me tell you how I became emotionally regulated. I went through it during my postpartum period after having my son. So everything was okay, but I think that I didn't process all the things that happened during my pregnancy, during delivery. It was a lot of things that I just really did not sit with. I was kind of on the move. I didn't want to think about those things. I was just so focused on my son and focused on getting back to my career. And it all came to the surface. And I was not emotionally regulated, meaning I would get angry. I would get upset much more easily. I had more anxiety, and I really had to work through these different things. And in order for me to work through those, I had to realize, you know what? My nervous system is terrible. Now, I tried like normal day-to-day things like walking. I tried light breath work. I didn't get into it too much, and I did some yoga, spiritual practices, just different things like that. Well, by 2024, I finally tried something that my coach had been trying to get me to try for years, and that is EFT tapping. So I first learned about EFT tapping in 2017, I believe. And I was like, okay, I'll do this, but it just did not feel right to me. And I guess because I just didn't need it at the time. I didn't have emotional issues. I was fine. But then I'm like, all right, I'm ready to try it. I have been doing EFT tapping for almost a year and a half. And when I tell you, it's night and day. First of all, aside from my emotions, I want to tell you other benefits of EFT tapping. I don't have cravings, like sugar cravings, at all. At all. Depression, I do have anxiety sometimes, but I'll start tapping and it usually goes away. Those are the three things that I've really benefited. But I've also seen, I'm going to see if I can pull it up, because I saw this research. I believe it was on TikTok. Let's see. I want to find it because it really does make a difference. If I don't find it, it's okay. But I mean, it does everything to help you. And I want you to try EFT at least, I don't know, once a day. That's what I recommend, once a day. If you want to start your morning off, afternoon, or at night, and see how it works for you. So let's talk about EFT tapping and what it looks like. It's basically hitting those meridian points in your body, which is the top of your head, your inner eyebrow, the outside of your eye, under your nose, chin, collarbones, where your bra strap is on the side, and then karate chop. Now, I have tons of EFT tapping videos on YouTube, TikTok, all of that. So be sure to check it out. If you need some to kind of move through and just get used to it, it would probably be very helpful for you. But I really, really found so much more improvement. And I was like, you know what? This is really making a difference in my life. And my husband even noticed it. And I told him, because I thought like, oh, because my son was sick, I was like, maybe that's why I'm not eating. He was like, wait, what? You're not sick though. I was like, no, I'm not sick. I wonder if it's because I started EFT tapping. And since then, it has been incredible. But I do want to point out, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. If you aren't consistent in it, you may not see the full benefits. So just start off once a day and you're going to see wonders, okay? Tapping those points, I would say if you do it on your own, do it like maybe 10 times all the way around. You may yawn, you could burp, you could cough, whatever, but that's just getting out any stagnant energy in your body. Another thing I've done to heal my nervous system, and I talk deeply about these things and how to put them into practice in my Money Honey course. If anyone is interested, you can just go to shesworthy.org and check it out. But somatic shaking. Oh my gosh. Somatic shaking makes me feel like I do have Native American heritage. And it makes me feel like I'm outside. I'm like shaking with the ancestors, okay? That's how it makes me feel. Basically, you're shaking your body like in such a way, it makes you breathe deeply and it allows you to release. So you might start yawning or burp or whatever. It's just getting that energy out. Some people recommend doing like horse lips when you're breathing, just to relax the lips, shaking different limbs. I mean, it's amazing. Now, I do also have a vibration plate I'm going to get on in just a little bit, probably after I get off of this. But I mean, it really helps you guys, and I would highly recommend doing that. Think about a dog. When you see a dog and maybe they just came back from running like really, really fast. So more than likely their anxiety is heightened, and then they just sit and they just shake and they're fine. That's exactly what somatic shaking is. So I highly recommend checking that out. And you can look into my course, Money Honey, if you have like any desire to get into deeper nervous system regulation so you can just feel good all the time. Again, doesn't mean you're not going to have problems, because that's not life, right? We're humans. We're going to deal with problems. But my thing is, I'm going to teach you how to deal with your problems in a way that your problems don't deal with you. You are on that, and it's not taking control of you, and you have your power and you feel in tune with yourself and not lost and not steady, right? That's what we're doing here. Okay, so let's talk into our next tip for being emotionally intelligent and mastering those emotions. Number one was having that forgiveness ritual, which I gave several examples. Number two is healing your nervous system. And number three, we have 10 in total. But number three is avoiding decision fatigue. Let's talk about decision fatigue. You guys, the world is at our fingertips. We have so many options and choices. It's like shiny object syndrome. And that can make it very hard to make decisions. First off, you want to make decisions when your brain works best. Do not force yourself to make decisions when you aren't there. My husband knows, don't ask me nothing after 6 p.m. because I mentally am out of it by 6 p.m. I don't make decisions after 6 p.m. You got from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you don't ask me within that time frame, you're not going to get an answer. That allows me to be fresh. And it makes a better case for me to make decisions from a place of power as opposed to forcing myself to do something or being impulsive because I have to make a decision. Another way to avoid decision fatigue is to create a rhythm and a routine that your body knows. So like I gave you that schedule of timing that I know I can make decisions, my body knows, hey, I make decisions at this time and I'm good with that, right? And also, when I say a rhythm, I mean going with your gut, going with your intuition. You should follow your gut even if it doesn't make sense sometimes. Learn how to trust yourself. Your body is the compass. There's a reason why in scripture God talks about your body being the temple of the Holy Spirit. You are God in human form. And so that's why when you make decisions, it's so important for you to make them based off how your body feels when you're making a decision. Most of your decisions should not just come from your head because God defies logic. And any God decision is going to have some gut into it. So I will give you an example. In choosing my husband, it was a gut decision. And it was for him too. Now, my husband is a very logical man. He's logical, he's practical, he's grounded. I am not always that way. Sometimes listen, it could be the craziest thing happening and I could tell him, this is what's going to happen. I would know what the next thing was going to happen. And then he'd come home and say, babe, you were right. He thinks logically. I think very spiritually. Now, I'm grounded in reality, but having those gut responses and going off of them, it helps you to make better decisions. So now with my spouse, he's starting to make better gut decisions because he's trusting himself as opposed to thinking that everything in the 3D reality is supposed to add up in order for him to get the right answer. But that's not how things go. Even when we chose each other as spouses, it was not logic. Logic would have said, don't do that. Because yes, we have great qualities. We're good people. It wasn't that. It's just logic does not always point you into the direction that you should actually go. Sometimes things are the most illogical, but they work. So just keep that in mind. I want you to really learn how to trust yourself. If you don't learn how to trust yourself in decision making, you are always going to be in a ball of nerves. Trusting yourself is the foundation of this type of success, and I want you all to have that. So when we come back from our break, I'm going to go through the next set of tips that we can do to help us be masters of our emotions. And when I tell you it's so much information in here, it's jam packed. I'm excited to share this with you. So make sure that you tune in all the way through, and